Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Gort Library for Galway Public Libraries, Galway's Great Read 2020, entitled Eilish Dillon, Language, Landscape and Legacy. This evening we are celebrating Eilish Dillon, the translator, with our multifaceted performance, Caoineadh, Ceol, agus Ceiliúradh. The Great Read initiative promotes our literary heritage, our history, our unique culture, and fosters an appreciation for its diversity and richness. This year, we are celebrating the life and works of Galway's most versatile writers, Eilish Dillon, through a programme of events and new commissions. We are delighted to welcome our special guests this evening, composer and musician Mairtín O'Connor, vocalist Ciara Conway, actor Siobhan O'Kelly, and musicians Sinead and Ciara O'Connor, Tomas and Roisín Mannion, Emily Greaney, for an evening to celebrate Eilish Dillon's translation of Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire.
Thank you, Charlene, for that lovely introduction. Good evening, everybody. We are delighted to be in Gort Library, this beautiful historic building and former place of worship for Lady Augusta Gregory, for the final session of Galway Public Library's commemoration of Galway-born writer Eilish Dillon. Born in March 1920, Eilish was raised in Daingean House just outside Galway City. She later moved to the small village of Barna and became proficient in Irish and the traditions of Connemara. She began her writing career as a children's novelist, writing primarily in the Irish language, and wanted her books to influence, inspire, and especially to educate. The Irish language was very important to Eilish Dillon. She believed the language helped preserve national identity and the traditions of people. Eilish's first publications for adults were 3 detective novels, all published in the early 1950s. One of her 6 historical novels, Across the Bitter Sea, published in 1973, was an instant bestseller. Having written 50 books in her distinguished career, Eilish married together the role of historian and storyteller, connecting and shaping the magic of the landscape, the inspiration of the people, the sense of place, the love of language, the appreciation of history, and the standing of the Irish people and culture in an international platform. Eilish also loved working in the field of translations. She saw translations as a means of introducing writers of old to new and modern audiences. Eilish's greatest work of translation is the Old Irish Lament, Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire. Eilish first encountered the poem when she was 15 years old, and it had a profound and lasting effect on her. There are many aspects of the lament which appeal to her: the link to her own ancestry, the use of the Irish language, which we know was so important to Eilish, but also the force of emotion and the tragedy contained within the poem, and of course, her admiration of Eibhlín Dubh Ní Chonail as a strong and assertive woman. The translation took Eilish 6 years to complete. She wanted to give it the time and attention to detail it deserved, in order to capture the essence of the original. She wanted to convey the emotion, while not losing any of the depth of rhythm in translation. And her desire to have Old Irish text available to new audiences, nationally and internationally, was paramount to her reasoning for becoming a translator. Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, according to historian Declan Kiberd, is one of the great elegies of European culture, an amazing combination of tradition and the individual talent, moving through moods of shock, tenderness, nostalgic reverie, personal outrage, vengeance, and in the end, immense dignity. Celebrating this translation, Galway Public Libraries have commissioned Galway-based virtuoso Mairtín O'Connor to compose a musical response to it, and I quote, "the greatest poem written in these islands in the whole 18th century." Our performance tonight will comprise of 5 different strands. Our opening piece will be a short introduction by Ceara Conway into the origins of the traditional Irish practice of keening, or the Caoineadh as it is known. Ciara will also be singing some verses of Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, to a melody she composed herself for this performance. Ceara Conway is an Irish artist and singer working in performance, song and traditional folk practices, and has worked on various commissions nationally and internationally, such as Verditas for Galway University Hospitals and Galway 2020 European Capital of Culture, Pocahontas Opera House Song Project, and in 2019 performed at the Irish Embassy in Paris with the National Gallery of Ireland for notable heads of state. She is currently recording her debut album, Queen, an album presenting traditional laments from all over the world. Following Ciara's talk on keening, we will hear the words of the translated Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire recited by actor Siobhan O'Kelly. Siobhan is an award-winning actress who hails from County Galway. She graduated from the Guildhall School of Music and Drama in London, and since then has graced the stage and screen here and in the UK. Her wide range of TV and theatre work include Unclondike, The Beauty Queen of Leenane, Lipstick, A Fairy Tale of Iran, Jack Taylor, Call the Midwife, and many more. In 2015, Siobhan won Best Actress at the European Independent Film Festival in Paris for her role in Sophie at the Races, and in 2016 was nominated for an IFTA for her work on the TV series Unclondike. Her recent film, Airt, set in famine times, has been put forward for an Oscar selection. Following these introductions to Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, both vocally and in recitation, we will hear the newly composed Airt Uí Laoghaire suite of music in celebration of Eilish Dillon's translation, written by Mairtín O'Connor and performed for the first time this evening. Mairtín O'Connor's name has been synonymous with the accordion for decades, as master of the instrument and as composer-arranger. Born in the village of Barna, the same village that Eilish Dillon lived, he started playing at the age of 9 and has performed, toured and recorded with bands such as Midnight Well, The Boys of the Loch, Real Union and the Daingean. His albums and compositions are considered innovative, groundbreaking and captivating. Throughout his career, Mairtín has composed music for theatrical productions, TV documentaries and film, and has been a session and guest musician on many recordings by national and international artists. He has also been the recipient of many awards and was conferred with the honorary MA from NUIG for his contribution to traditional music. Tonight, Mairtín will be accompanied by musicians Ciara and Sinead O'Connor, his daughters, Emily Greaney and Tomas and Roisín Mannion. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy Caoineadh, Ceol, agus, Ceiliúradh.
This evening we are gathering to celebrate the well-known author Eilish Dillon and her praised translation of the famous lament Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, composed by Eibhlín Dubh. Before we present our performance of this powerful lament and its translation, I want to share with you some fascinating insights into the origins of the traditional Irish practice of keening, or caoineadh as it was known. In Ireland and in many parts of the world, it was traditionally the role of women to prepare a body for burial and to orchestrate and perform the funeral ritual. The caoineadh was performed loudly and publicly, and it was regarded as essential to the honour of the dead person. What is fascinating to learn is that these powerful Irish lament poems were composed by women, and they were always performed by women. Not only did these poems eulogise the dead, their lineage, achievements and character, but they also criticised the deceased's misdeeds and shortcomings had they committed any in their lifetime. A feminist analysis of Irish lament traditions shows that the band Caoineadh used her status as chief mourner to air grievances about the wrongdoings committed by the deceased and members of the community present, and to challenge priests and the practices of the Catholic Church, whose views on keening at the time was that it was a barbaric and savage practice. The band Caoineadh used her appearance, her voice and her oral poetry to work the atmosphere and energy of the gathered community, leading them through their grief.
Historical witnesses have alluded to the Bean Caoineadh appearing like a madwoman, with torn clothes, sometimes breasts bared, and her hair awry. At times, as alluded to in Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, the Bean Caoineadh would drink the blood of the deceased if there was an open wound. All of these ritual tactics were consciously utilised to create a powerfully charged ceremony, a ceremony of close proximity and communal witnessing. It is also said that these tactics were employed so as to keep the community at bay when the Bean Caoineadh was delivering unsavoury truths. Early lament poetry was not sung, rather it was recited. The poems had rhythmic stanzas and phrases which were repeated over and over again with the addition of vocables. Vocables are sounds which have no literal meaning but which carry deep emotional resonance. For example, ochon, ochon. In Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, we hear the repeated refrain, mo ghrá daingean hu. Early lament poetry was not written down, it was an oral practice, transmitted from generation to generation, from mouth to mouth. Laments, such as Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, would have been performed for different ceremonies down through the years. Each time, the Bean Caoineadh changing specific lines to suit each ritual anew. It is likely that Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire was composed by not just Eibhlín Dubh, but by many women down through the years. And this is one of the qualities that is most powerful about Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire and the Irish lament as a genre. It is that within these highly sophisticated poems, we have the opportunity to experience and connect with the past through another woman's eyes, grief, and heart.
O white-handed rider, how fine your brooch was fastened in cambric, and your hat with laces. When you crossed the sea to us, they would clear the street for you, but not for love of you, but for deadly hatred. My friend, you were forever. When they will come home to me, gentle little Connor and Fear O'Leary the baby, they will question me so quickly, where did I leave their father? I will answer in my anguish that I left him in Kilnamartyr. They will call out to their father, but he won't be there to answer. My friend and my love, of the blood of Lord Antrim and of Barry of all Chyle, how well your sword suited you. Hat gold banded, boots of fine leather, coat of broadcloth, spun overseas for you. My friend, you were forever. I knew nothing of your murder, till your horse came to the stable with the reins beneath her trailing, and your heart's blood on her shoulders, staining the tooled saddle where you used to sit and stand. My first leap reached the threshold, my second reached the gateway, my third leap reached the saddle. I struck my hands together and I made the bay horse gallop as fast as I was able, till I found you dead before me, beside a little furze bush. Without pope or bishop, without priest or cleric to read the death psalms for you, but a spent old woman only, who spread her cloak to shroud you. Your heart's blood was still flowing. I didn't stay to wipe it, but filled my hands and drank it. My love, you'll be forever. Rise up from where you're lying, and we'll be going homewards. We'll have a bullock slaughtered. We'll call our friends together. We'll get the music going. I'll make a fine bed ready with sheets of snow-white linen and fine embroidered covers that'll bring the sweat out through you instead of the cold that's on you. My friend and my treasure, there's many a handsome woman from Cork of the Sales to the Bridge of Tomes, with a great herd of cattle and gold for her dowry, that would not have been found sleeping on the night we were waking you. My friend and my lamb, you must never believe it. nor the whisper that reached you, nor the venomous stories that said I was sleeping. It was not sleep that was on me, but your children were weeping, and they needed me with them to bring their sleep to them. Now judge, my people, what woman in Ireland that at every nightfall lay down beside him, that bore his 3 children, would not lose her reason after Airt O'Leary, that's here with me, vanquished since yesterday morning? Bad luck to you, Morris. May your heart's blood poison you, with your squint eyes gaping and your knock knees breaking, that murdered my darling, and no man in Ireland to fill you with bullets. My friend and my heart, rise up again now, Airt. Leap up on your horse, make straight for Macroom town, and to Inchigeely back, a bottle of wine in your fist, the same as you drank with your dead. My bitter long torment, that I was not with you when the bullet came towards you. My right side would have taken it, or a fold of my tunic, and I would have saved you, O smooth-handed rider. My sore, sharp sorrow that I was not with you when the gunpowder blazed at you. My right side would have taken it, or a fold of my gown, and you would have gone free then, O grey-eyed rider, since you were a match for them. My friend and my treasure, it's bad treatment for a hero till I hooded in a coffin. The warm-hearted rider that fished in bright rivers, that drank in great houses with white-breasted women. My 1,000 sorrows that I have lost my companion. Bad luck and misfortune come down on you, Morris, that snatched my protector, my unborn child's father, 2 of them walking, and the 3rd still within me, and not likely I'll bear it. My friend and my pleasure, when you went out through the gateway, you turned and came back quickly. You kissed your 2 children. You kissed me on the forehead. You said, Eileen, rise up quickly. Put your affairs in order with speed and with decision. I'm leaving home now, and there's no telling if I'll return. I mocked this way of talking. He had said it to me so often. My love and my treasure, not my dead ancestors, nor the deaths of my 3 children, nor Donal Mór O'Connell, nor Connell that drowned at sea, nor the 26 years woman who went across the water and held kings in conversation. It's not on all of them I'm calling, but on Airt, who was slain last night at the Inch of Carriganimma, the brown mare's rider that's here with me only, with no living soul near him, but the dark little women of the mill, and my 1,000 sorrows worsened, that their eyes were dry of tears. My friend and my lamb, Arthur O'Leary, of Connor, of Keady, of Louis O'Leary, from west in Gira and from east in Ceol Ceiliúradh, where the berries grow freely, and gold nuts on branches, and great floods of apples all in their seasons. Would it be a wonder if Eibhlín were blazing besides Ballingeary, and Gugan of the Saint for the firm-handed rider that hunted the stag down, all out from Greaney, when slim hounds fell behind? And oh, clear-sighted rider, what happened last night? For I thought to myself that nothing could kill you, though I bought your habit. My love forever. And when you went in cities, strong and powerful, the wives of the merchants all bowed down to you, for they knew in their hearts what a fine man in bed you were, and what a fine horseman, and father for children. Jesus Christ knows I'll have no cap on my head, nor a shift on my back, nor shoes on my feet, nor goods in my house, nor the brown mare's harness that I won't spend on lawyers, that I'll cross the seas and talk to the king. And if no one listens, that I'll come back to the black bloodied clown that took my treasure from me. My love and my darling, if my cry were heard westwards to great Derrynane, to the gold-appled Capling, many swift, hearty riders and white-kerchiefed women would be coming here quickly to weep at your waking, beloved Airt O'Leary. My heart is warming to the fine women of the mill for their goodness in lamenting the brown mare's rider. May your black heart fail you, O false John Cooney. If you had wanted a bribe, you should have asked me. I'd have given you plenty. A powerful horse that would carry you safely through the mob when the hunt was out for you, or a fine herd of cattle, or ewes to bear lambs for you, or a suit of a gentleman with spurs and top boots. Though it's sorry I'd be to see you done up in them, for I've always heard you're a piddling lout. Oh, white-handed rider, since you are struck down, rise and go after Baldwin, the ugly wretch with the spindle shanks, and take your revenge for the loss of your mare. May he never enjoy her. May his 6 children wither. But no bad wish to Maura, though I have no love for her, but that our own mother gave space in her womb to her for 3 long seasons. My love and my dear, your stooks are standing, your yellow cows milking. On my heart is such sorrow that all Munster could not cure it, nor the wisdom of the sages. Till Airt O'Leary returns, there will be no end to the grief that presses down on my heart, closed up tight and firm, like a trunk that is locked and the key is mislaid. All you women out there weeping, wait a little longer. We'll drink to Airt, son of Connor, and the souls of all the dead before he enters the school, not learning wisdom or music, but weighed down by earth and stones.
Má ghrá go daingean lá dáhacha tú ag ceantaí an bhairge ag mo húil ar a duit ag mo chrí taingeamh duit Ceiliúradh sin charad leat Is Thompson ar hairach Corús Paulús a Ialgan Rúmana mracachan is Bacús a Iargachan Ricky a Chiapacham is Rosta Varovacham Marteliagam is Kala a Glúvlachan Da Dichan Caira no Harishta Daingean Chara was my daingean, nor a shaka hagam a walle. Lauchan chorveag a chiana is far a lira liana. Is diri diam gadapwi karagas heine nahir. Is nios of dofe varig goir agus e gille vartir. Is gliesje der nahir. Is ni vaische akule fragors. And no matter how much they roared, their father will never answer. Nis the wolas gloma wasas the wanasas na rav. Chomas govishe agam gaurus rum tomorrow. Kostorin ishavarten gan papais gan aspig gan sagertis gan chlerik da lefi chart und talon ach shan van chriana chawetze da ljart bin da walling doch it's full of land schrootjes Níor anas le hí a ghlana ach í ól suas an wasam. Lama char o was ma hannev nuair a chawas amach an jate. Nes dilishe ras go tapwig is the focus di ish lianov. Is the focus mishe warwashe. Dora sa Eibhlín Airt agus cardach nach an taske. Galúam nach is go tapwig mar tamsig fag an walle. Is ní moite go to a chassen. Is níor dhéanann sachu amach mar bhíos a rálam go minic chana. Lafrás amach I gallis stadig word gushes or the gart machan chwairtach agus fili her kjan la macht solle dean mooi distach sa skallis ni ek volen leine part ach ek kan bed kre agus klach ach ek kan bed kre agus klach.
Mairtín, that was a beautiful composition that you wrote in response to Eilish Dillon's translation of Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire. It was extremely compelling, it was full of drama and full of passion. When you first got the commission, what were your initial thoughts and how did you go about, or what were your thought processes when you were writing this piece of music?
When I first got the commission, it's always a challenge. You know, if you get a commission to do anything, it kind of throws down the gauntlet for you to come up with something. The book was sent to me containing the poem, and I'd forgotten how long the poem is. So I opened the book, observed the length of it, and closed the book twice at the speed that I had opened it. And I said, no, this is too much here. I kind of relaxed a bit and familiarised myself, read through it, of course, lots of times, and got a sense
what it was about.
Yeah, and it gives a fascinating glimpse of life at the time.
Why did you call it the Airt Uí Laoghaire suite? Is there a reason?
It's centred around him, you know, and being a militaristic figure and non-compromising. In a sense, you could say that he was a heroic figure. I mean, they were all suffering the injustice at the time of the penal system and the ascendancy, trying to have their own way and to get as much out of the people as they could.
And the thing is, you mentioned before that he was a husband, he was a hussar, he came back, he had a horse, and because of that, they wanted to take it off him, and he ultimately was killed because of it.
Art came from a privileged background. He was educated in France, and at the time he was 21, he was a captain in an elite section of Maria Theresa's army, the Austrian army. And so he was in the Hungarian Hussar division. So he was obviously a great military man, I would imagine. And when he came back to Ireland after his military experience, I can well understand that he wouldn't tolerate the likes of Morris hassling him, you know. Yes. So the composition hopefully reflects the tragedy of the loss of his life at that young age. He was only 26. It also obviously has to reflect his militaristic background.
Yes.
So the centrepiece of the composition is a kind of a big march, but with kind of little narrative episodes relating to the general story of the poem. And then the composition finishes with a kind of a toast to art, which is also a feature of the poem. And I've kind of left it at that.
Well, not only did you compose this beautiful suite of music, which you called Airt Uí Laoghaire, you composed another suite of music called Kindred Spirits. And this you did in honour of Eilish Dillon and Eibhlín Dubh Ní Chonail. What was it about these strong women that made you write this piece?
Yeah, I mean, the main celebration of the 2020 celebration is of Eilish Dillon. And the reason I was asked to compose something related to her translation into English of the Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire. So I thought it would be fitting to have a piece of music as well relating to Eilish herself. Also, it occurred to me that she spent some very early years in Barna, and I lived on the same little pier road until I was about 6 years old.
Easy.
Yeah, and she also played the cello.
Right.
So, and my daughter plays the cello. So I found kind of little things in common. And as regards, I think there was a big resonance for Eilish Dillon. She had a big resonance with Mairtín O'Connor. Both of them suffered at the hands of oppression.
Yes, and Eilish Dillon, when she first read Caoineadh Airt Uí Laoghaire, it had a profound and lasting effect on her. And part of it was the fact that she could relate to the military in it, in her own lineage. And she was, yes, and she was very taken with Eibhlín Dubh Ní Chonail as being a very strong and assertive woman.
That's why I've constructed this little piece of music, probably to reflect that great resonance between the two of them. And basically it includes a planxty for each of them, or a tune of praise for each of them, and a reel at the end as just a celebration tune. And at the beginning, Eilish Dillon, as we know, played cello very well. So I constructed a little piece of music that includes a line or two from Bach's first cello suite in G, the prelude, which she would have played, I'm sure.
Well, Mairtín, all I can say is this whole year has been her centenary year. And when we organised the Great Read this year, our first thoughts when we knew we were going to have music commission was for you to do it. And I think what you have written has been a very fitting tribute to Eilish Dillon.
Thanks, Jo.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the next part of the Caoineadh Ceol agus Ceiliúradh. It's the final piece of music written and composed by Mairtín O'Connor. It's called Kindred Spirits, and he will be accompanied by his daughters Sinead and Ciara, Tomas and Roisín Mannion, and Emily Greaney.